Hello, Dr. Cinema here. Now, a while back I did a ranking of the Elm Street movies. And I realized last week was Friday the 13th, and I never actually did anything Friday the 13th related besides that one play-by-play review. So I thought, better late than never. Here is my ranking of the Friday the 13th movies. Now, this is a very famous franchise starring Jason Voorhees as the slasher and a bunch of, you know, stupid sex crazed drug using teens getting killed off. I mean, they made what, 12 of these movies? Well, I guess technically it would be 10 if you don't count the remake and Freddy vs. Jason, but 10! Wow! Stupid people. But anyway, this ranking of the Friday the 13th movies will include Freddy vs. Jason and the remake. So, without further waiting, let's get right down to it. Now, at the bottom of the ranking, at number 12, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Now, this is the first movie made by New Line Cinema. And at the end of it, there's a little, cameo from Freddy Krueger's hand dragging Jason's mask down to hell. That's basically the only good part of this movie. I mean, they turned Jason from a slasher to a body possessing demon kind of thing. And apparently, he has multiple family members that he can use for bodies in order to bring himself back to life. This is just so goddamn confusing, and I don't know why they went this route with him. I mean, this is just stupid. So, yeah, that's basically my brief way of saying that this is probably the worst of the franchise. Now, at number 11, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Now, this one's about like a psychokinetic little girl going up against Jason. And really, this is low on the list because mainly it's kind of forgettable. Which is impressive because basically every film on in this franchise has like a distinct feature that's remembered for, but this one's sort of forgettable. I kind of even forgot about it when I first started making this ranking. And I and if you're forgotten in a franchise this so crazy and weird, that's kind of bad. But it's definitely not the worst. At number 10, Jason Takes Manhattan. This is sort of a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. Jason on a cruise ship who ends up in Manhattan and Times Square. It's a guilty pleasure, and obviously they're running out of ideas. So that's all I really gotta say about that. Now let's go on to number 9. Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Now, this is one of the two movies of the series that does not have Jason as the killer. Instead, this is focused in a little mental hospital where I'm sorry, I forgot the guy's name. Let's see. Friday the 13th, Part 5. Cast. Tommy Jarvis, that's his name. Tommy Jarvis. Sorry about that. But Tommy Jarvis is in the mental hospital after the events of Friday the 13th 4, and he has hallucinations about Jason. And it ends in a way where we're supposed to believe that that Tommy becomes the new killer of the series, but that never actually happened. So this is why people sort of forget about it a little bit because it never actually goes into the direction that it wanted to go to. But it's still a fun movie to watch. And if you're really interested in seeing how Tommy Jarvis ended up after the fourth film, go right ahead and check it out. Now let's go on to number 8, Freddy vs. Jason. Now, like I said before, in the previous ranking, that this is a guilty pleasure for me. It's still kind of fun to watch the fight scenes, but this is definitely more of a Freddy Krueger story than more of a Jason story. But when Jason's on screen killing people, it's pretty fun. Especially that one scene where he's on fire, his machete is on fire, at the cornfield rave, just killing people. That's really fun to watch. Now let's move on to number 7, Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. Yeah, that was a weird way of saying it, but yeah. So this is the first Friday the 13th movie where Jason wears the iconic hockey mask, and of course it's in 3D. Now 3D at this time in movie history wasn't really something that impressive because it was also used for Jaws 3D and that did not work out very well at all. But this one is better than Jaws 3D, and there are some cool kill scenes, and again, the first one with the hockey mask. So if you want to know where the hockey mask came from, this is the movie where it happened. Now let's go on to number 6, Jason X. Now I already did a play-by-play review of the movie, so you want to know more specifics, go check that one out. But this is a lot better than I was expecting, and it's actually take itself seriously, but not too seriously. A little bit of comedy here and there, but this is actually kind of enjoyable. Now, again, if you want to know more details, check out my play-by-play review. Now, let's move on to number 5, the original Friday the 13th. Now, the reason this is at number 5 is because Jason isn't really the killer. It's actually his mom, Pamela Voorhees. And yes, this is now considered a classic, but at the time it was considered to be only be made to make up for the financial success of other slasher movies. But this is still a fun movie. It has its place in movie cinema history. And I guess it's really only at this plot list because, again, Jason isn't actually the killer. And that's what the franchise is famous for. So this is still actually a fun movie to check out. Number 4, the Friday the 13th 2009 remake. Now I know some people say that this is basically a book by book remake of a slasher movie, but really this is a really different kind of remake because again, remember the original Friday the 13th did not have Jason as the killer as his mom, and this remake Jason is the killer, even though they did have a flashback about like Pamela Voorhees killing people. So it's really a sort of homage to the original as well. And it is its own thing. And again, I already did a play-by-play review of this one as well, so you check that one out. But I think this one's better than most people give it credit for. Now let's move on to number 3, Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. The first one to be called the final movie. This one has Jason already in hockey mask with machete, killing people, and the first appearance of Tommy Jarvis, who surprisingly appears in 3 movies, Friday the 13th Part 4, 5, and 6. And this is really actually a fitting final chapter. This actually did end up being the final chapter. So, yeah, like I said with basically most of these, check it out. Number 2, Friday the 13th Part 2. This is the first movie where Jason is actually the killer, but he's wearing the sack, and it's actually pretty well made. Don't really have much else to say beyond that. And this is actually, this is actually the first Friday movie that I actually saw. So there's that too. And the number 1 Friday the 13th movie is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. This is the first one to actually embrace the tongue-in-cheek nature of the franchise. Just be silly and have fun with it. With a James Bond opening, people talking directly to the camera, Jason just smashing through a door. This is all the fun you wanted from a Friday the 13th movie, but didn't actually get in the earlier movies. And this is just a great movie to watch with friends. And if you don't believe me, this is real, and this is also the final outing of Tommy Jarvis. So there's that too. And those are my rankings of the Friday the 13th movies. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Dr. Cinema. See you next time.